Debunking common myths about women's love and relationships. Let's dive into some common misconceptions men often have about women. The first is the belief that physical appearance plays as significant a role in our attraction as it does for men. While it's true that we do observe and take note of a man's appearance, and we also notice the looks of other women, this visual element doesn't hold the same weight when it comes to choosing a partner. As I've discussed in previous videos, yes, we do consider looks as an indicator of health and the potential to produce healthy offspring. However, in my extensive interviews with long-term couples, a surprising pattern emerged. In 90% of the cases, the woman wasn't immediately physically attracted to the man. These women, who are now deeply attracted to their partners, didn't feel that initial spark. Interestingly, many relationships that start with strong initial attraction don't always stand the test of time. Why? Because sexual attraction and relationship compatibility are two very different things. Once the initial passion fades, you're left to evaluate whether you're truly compatible as partners. Frequently, women discover that the men they were initially drawn to aren't the right fit for a long-term relationship. This is largely due to the simple fact that true compatibility can only be assessed by getting to know someone on a deeper level, beyond their physical attributes. So, if you're willing to give a woman the time to truly know you, you might have to navigate the infamous friend zone initially. But if you can manage that while still maintaining your own life and pursuing your interests, you significantly increase your chances of building a lasting, fulfilling relationship. This is because the woman's interest in you will be based on more than just your looks. Men, on the other hand, are generally more visually oriented. I've noticed this firsthand in the comments I receive. I get a lot of feedback on my appearance, some positive, some not so much. But what I find most intriguing is the sheer volume of comments focused on how I look. It's a clear indication of this difference in how men and women perceive attraction. Alright, moving on to the second misconception, the idea that attractive women are somehow out of your league. This ties back to the first point. Just because you perceive a woman as being exceptionally attractive, and perhaps even feel that she's beyond your reach in terms of looks or other qualities, doesn't mean she sees things the same way. You might assume she's out of your league and further assume that she also believes this, but that's often not the case. All women have insecurities, just like everyone else. What this means is that no woman is truly out of your league, unless perhaps she's a famous, wealthy supermodel, in which case she might be seeking someone on a similar level, if only because that person would likely have the confidence to be with her. But in general practical terms, if you possess sufficient confidence, you can realistically pursue any relationship you desire. So, don't make the assumption that she's out of your league, because she's probably not making that assumption about you. Okay, let's tackle the third and final misconception, the belief that women think logically. Many people claim that women are illogical and driven by their emotions. And there's some truth to that. The emotional center in a woman's brain is actually 8 times larger than a man's. We are not primarily logical creatures. But somehow, despite knowing this, when it comes to emotional responses, you might still believe that we can logically react and respond to situations, especially when there's an 8-fold higher likelihood of women experiencing strong emotions. However, this isn't always the case. When emotions are involved, the chances of a woman reacting logically diminish significantly. In such scenarios, relying solely on logic is ineffective. Instead, you must appeal to her feelings. This is a topic I'll explore in more depth in a future video, but for now, avoid assuming that your logical approach will resonate with a woman. Women don't think in a linear or literal way like men do, which means logic alone won't work. You have to connect with her emotions directly. This brings me to the next point, assuming that a woman's emotions are consistent. In reality, emotions are highly variable, and can shift rapidly. Factors like hormones, triggers, or even everyday stresses can cause sudden changes in mood. If you're in a relationship, and she's deeply invested in you, you'll delve deeper into those dynamics soon. But just because she's currently feeling passionate doesn't mean she'll maintain that same level of emotion in 10 minutes. A single incident, like a conflict or a minor annoyance, can set her off, leading to irritation or frustration. Women's emotional centers are 8 times larger than men's, which means they are far more sensitive to stimuli. This heightened emotional reactivity makes them more prone to intense reactions, whether positive or negative. While this trait is natural, it's important to recognize that it's not a flaw, it's a part of what makes women uniquely responsive. If you find this challenging, remember that it's not your responsibility to control it, it's a natural design. You can't change how your brain works, but you can learn to navigate it with empathy and understanding. Number 5. Assuming that a woman remains satisfied once she's in a relationship. While it's true that many women don't need constant stimulation, the reality is that relationships require ongoing effort. Once you've made a successful conquest, you may start to feel comfortable, but that doesn't mean the relationship is solid. You need to keep the spark alive by introducing surprises, like a thoughtful gesture or a spontaneous activity. These moments don't have to be grand. A simple flower or a last-minute adventure can do the trick. The key is to add some unpredictability and mystery to maintain interest. Even when you feel secure in a relationship, you still need to keep the flame burning. A little bit of excitement and novelty can prevent boredom and keep your partner happy. If you're not intentionally working to keep her content, you might not be in a healthy relationship. In a partnership, both individuals should strive to support each other's well-being. While women play a role in maintaining happiness for men, my audience here is men, and I'm here to help you understand how to nurture your relationship. There are other coaches out there who focus on helping women learn to treat men with respect, and I may create a video on that topic in the future. This is something you can share with your female friends, but for now, let's focus on what you can do. The 6th and most critical misconception men have about women is that our different way of loving means we don't feel deeply. This isn't true, women do love deeply, but it takes us longer to reach that point. We tend to protect our hearts more than men do. When a man falls, he often does so quickly and intensely. I could have made a joke here, but let's stay on topic. Women take longer to fall in love because we need more time to trust and feel safe enough to open our hearts. Once we do, though, we give our entire hearts. There's a soft, vulnerable side to women that only emerges when we trust you, and ourselves, enough to let it show. I've seen this in the stories of women I know personally, like a friend who was married to her husband for over 40 years, remaining faithful and loving until his death. Another woman I admire was devoted to her partner for 25 years, showing unwavering support until his passing. My mom was also fiercely loyal and loving to my dad throughout their marriage. If you looked at these relationships on paper, you might think the men were out of their league, but in my view, no one is out of your league. You might wonder how these women stayed with men who weren't wealthy, attractive, or successful. The truth is, it's not about money, fame, or status. These men weren't rich, and my dad was even overweight, and not conventionally handsome. If you assume all women are shallow, you're looking in the wrong places for someone who can offer you lasting, meaningful love. It won't be completely unconditional, and it will take time for her to fully open up. But if you can meet her emotional needs, through small, consistent acts of kindness, like listening, showing appreciation, or being present, she'll feel valued. Women are capable of deep care, nurturing, and tenderness, but it takes time for them to trust you enough to express it. Of course, you need to choose wisely, as not every woman will be someone who lets you break through her barriers and experience that heartfelt connection. If you're watching this, it's because you believe there's a possibility of finding that kind of love. Don't lose hope. Women and men are different, but with patience and effort, you can build a happy, fulfilling relationship. I hope this video has been encouraging, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hey there! If you enjoy my videos, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button, share the content with others, and make sure to check out my upcoming video as well. Every time you leave a comment, or watch one of my videos, it truly makes a big difference for me. It helps me grow my channel and keep creating content that you'll find valuable. For example, your comments not only give me feedback, but also help my videos reach more people through the platform's algorithm. So, thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.